So one or two more quick slides, and then we'll get to the coaching demonstration. Using the pipeline, you can use it in several different ways. One is for analysis. So where is this person stuck? Where are they constrained? You don't have to know the absolute answer. You just have to have a hypothesis that leads you to start somewhere. So I'm going to back up here. When I started coaching, we used to start with a lot of psychological assessment and a lot of feedback and a lot of insight generation. We'd write a development plan and then say, will you sign off on this? Will you commit to working on this? Deal with the motivation. Then we would teach them the skills and behaviors that were part of that. Then we'd send them back to work and have them go do it. And then we would measure it at the end and provide the accountability. Very powerful, but looked the same for almost everybody. Now, if somebody comes in and they know, and they know what they want to work on, and they're willing to work on it, so insight and motivation are big, we'll dive right into building capabilities or real-world practice or creating an opportunity for them to try it wherever they're stuck. Somebody comes in, and so people ask me, what kind of assessment do you do? Well, whatever you need. If you know what you want to work on and you're pretty sure you've got your bases covered, I'm just going to ask you, what do you want to work on? And that's the assessment. If you don't have a clue why you're getting passed over for promotions over and over again and nobody will tell you, we'll do a lot more assessment. Maybe go interview some people, we'll look at a number of different instruments, lots of different things we can do. But we want to focus on what is the constraint. Then leverage. Where will my actions have the greatest impact? Zeroing in on the greatest constraint immediately leads to some kind of improvement. And then an action plan. How are we going to proceed? What kinds of activities do they need? What's the solution what does it look like that's going to be most useful for them? So it's very much focused on their needs, their unique situation, and not some generic plan. And that's what really makes this much faster and more efficient, and I think much more rewarding for them because we don't waste time going through stuff that they don't need, that doesn't have real value. I will just skip that so we can get to the fun stuff. So, I need a volunteer. Yes? Sounds like we have someone right here. Can we get you a microphone? I just have a question or two for you.
Coming right behind you.
I just want to know what you want to work on, and so I can make sure that that it's a viable topic.
My topic is wanting clarity about perhaps pursuing an academic route to pursue more scholarship in coaching and gaining clarity around that for myself.
I think we can do that. Come on up. Come on down.
Come on down.
Now I have to...
I'm going to take that mic, and you're going to have one of this one right here.
Are you willing to be filmed?
Sure.
Okay. Come on up. Yeah, we need your permission to be filmed because they're going to continue with this. Why don't you sit there since the microphone is there? And what I would like you in the audience to be thinking about, by the way, I'm David.
Osa.
Osa?
Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Osa. Thank you for coming up here.
Thank you.
Where's Osa's development constrained? Is it insight, motivation? What's keeping her from making the change that she wants to? What am I doing to identify and or work on those constraints? Where am I starting? Where am I shifting? Where am I going next? So watch for those things and then think about what would you be doing and what might you be doing that's different from how I'm approaching it. Okay? Hi.
Hello.
I know I heard from you a little bit earlier that you wanted some help in making a decision. So where should we start?
Where I want to start is to say that I am a late bloomer, and I have all kinds of internal blockages about this, and that if I were to, I'm concerned about that my desire to, let's say, go and pursue a PhD to explore the theory of ADD coach, or establish a theory of ADD coaching, that part of that is founded in a deep-rooted insecurity that I need to prove myself in some fashion. So I'm concerned about that. And then the other concern I have is financial. And the other concern is that I have a child who's 8 years old, and I know what that means in terms of time and commitment, but there's a nagging feeling in me. And then the other concern is that, oh, I'm just being grandiose. And, you know, my name is Osa, so I call myself Grandiosa sometimes. So there's, you know, there are a few, like, head-tripping things going on, but it's always there in my mind, constant nagging that I love theory, I like to write, and I love to read, and I'm constantly wanting to learn something, so.
Okay. So how can I help?
Just tell me what to do.
Here's the deal. I will tell you what to do if you promise 100% to do exactly what I tell you.
That's a good comeback.
It's not a comeback. It's the deal. Otherwise, there's no point in me telling you what to do.
Right. Okay. So,
you're going to do what you want to do
okay,
anyway.
so I'm going to take a risk.
Okay.
Tell me what to do, and I'll do it.
Gotcha. Number one, go find yourself a coach.
Yes.
Because this isn't that telling you what to do.
Right.
I can only tell you where to get started.
Right.
Go find yourself a coach. Set aside time to actually work on this and discover what your heart is telling you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
I can do that.
So are we done?
Wow. My inclination is no, not exactly. Don't you have 25 more minutes?
Well, we have all the time in the world. You have all the time that you need.
Okay.
Let's just stop.
Let's stop?
And talk about this. I mean,
Okay.
this is kind of
you wanna,
fascinating.
let's start from your perspective as a coach. What do you think you did, and what was the impact?
I'd like to hear.
You want to hear what other
thoughts?
people think?
Yeah,
Okay.
from the audience first, and
Okay.
then.
How does what she wants and what you intend to offer differ from psychotherapy?
Can we hold that question to later? I'd like to really just focus on what happened here in the last 2 minutes, and then we can come back to the broader, more theoretical questions.
Over there.
Well, what I saw was the client wanting to abdicate responsibility and you putting it back in her lap. And saying, you know, if you want me to tell you what to do, then you have to take responsibility for that decision. And then if you are ready to do that, then there's not much more to talk about. And then the client sort of said, well, wait,
Yeah.
I do want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And so I think you helped her gain some clarity of, I'm not really willing to abdicate, even though I said I was.
And so, two things that when I was a new coach, I'd spend a whole lot more time just asking for information and probing and all this stuff. But she was just ready to launch into it, so you can see how this makes a difference. And second is, I'm very comfortable just putting it back on her. Not trying to explain, well, no, you can't do that. This is, you have to take responsibility. I can't make your decisions for you. So we can get into those kind of intellectualizing types of activities. I just want to dump it back on her and make her deal with that reality.
Okay. Can I just interject one?
Sure, please.
Actually, what happened there was I was using humor. I obviously didn't want to abdicate responsibility, but it is a defense mechanism because I know that this is a little hard to kind of tease out these things. So I was sort of abdicating responsibility by using humor to sort of, but good thing he didn't.
And using David's question that he used before, what could he have done differently to help you more at that moment?
Maybe sort of say something about what do you picture on the other side? Like, what is your heart picture? What do you long for? Maybe something.
So get more clarity on where you want to end up? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Someone had right there.
Melissa, I just thought you were very brave to go up there and share as much as you did so quickly. And then I liked how dynamic the process was, how quickly you got to action, and how intuitive you were, David. So it felt like it was very, like you were building a trusting relationship that was authentic, and there was humor there back and forth. And you were both challenging each other in a kind way, but that it was also like quickly deep. So the right true force applied.
Okay, question right here.
I just have a question for Osa. If he had said to you, is that humor or are you being serious? Like to discern whether or not that was humor, would that have been helpful to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't feel as though I wanted to hear. I'm over here. More questions.
Could you stand up, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
I felt that you were. I didn't feel the trust. I think she was struggling, and I wanted you to ask a question to make her feel more comfortable and to articulate. And I kind of felt like if I were on the other side, I would be sort of angry. But I wanted more questions.
I just want to say we're 2 minutes into this, so there's only a certain amount that can be done. So I made some choices. There's a long ways to go. So this is not like ta-da, we're done. This is just the beginning. Yeah.
Yes. So let's move on, and then we'll come back to more questions. But let's give it another 3 or 4 minutes and see where we go.
So it sounds like you still want to spend some time here talking. What would you like to talk about? Where do you want to begin?
I think I want to begin by saying that I do feel this yearning to, maybe it's to discover, not exactly discover truth, but to sort of bring a variety of things together, mentally, and then so that it has an impact for people, and that there's a part of me that really believes that I've been on this journey. I feel a calling. I feel that it's not me, because in my own self I'm very fearful and mistrustful of my capabilities, but it's something beyond me that's sort of pulling me, which is why I'm stepping forward here in this risky situation. But that I do have a yearning to help people, and I do that in a practical way, but there's also this bigger picture thing that is drawing me, and so it does feel very compelling to me. And yet the practicals of, and maybe I have a very one-sided view of how that I can get there, is it, maybe I can start to do some writing on my own and I don't have to go to academia for this stamp or these 3 letters. And am I just kind of using an easy sort of capsule this is the easy path or the well-defined path that, is out there and it's acceptable and so forth. Is that the only way that I can achieve? So maybe there's some question about clarifying what I hope the end picture is, and then are there many paths to that, and yet part of me just loves the academic environment and questions and research and all that stuff. So I love working with students. So, there's... so the longing is very strong. And I'm not sure if I guess I'm a little afraid to go there. I'm afraid my husband will say, absolutely not, we're way in debt. And so part of me, I thought, well, maybe someone would fund me, since the ADD coaching is relatively new, and maybe this, maybe I could go get a PhD and sort of have a grant, and then in exchange, publish some things to sort of get ADD coaching more on the map. But then, as I say that, I'm thinking, who am I to be saying that? I'm just this, little worm. So there's this conflict. Not that I don't really want to be great, or that is not. It's just. But maybe there's. I'm full of contradictions, but there's also part of me that is. As a late bloomer, you sort of, many years you think you are one way and it's not very pretty. And then you start to experience that maybe that's not the truth. And then you start to explore, well, how far does this go? How far can I really go? What is in me? What percentage of my potential can I achieve, really? And so the question, I guess, is how much am I holding myself back and how much is circumstantial? That's exhausting.
Well, it sounds like you're just overwhelmed by questions and options and conflicts.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yes.
So can you identify one relatively simple question that you can answer today? Is there one thing that would really be helpful just as a place to begin?
That's a tall order. One simple question. That's not possible. Okay. No, it is possible. I think I can certainly identify what is one step I can take from this conversation to bring some more clarity. And my guess is it's probably the first thing that comes to mind is write a list of some people that I could talk to and ask questions of. Mm-hmm. And maybe some people in the field, and maybe some people who know me well.
Mm-hmm. So learn a little bit about yourself.
Right.
Learn a little bit about the field.
Right.
Okay. Who could you talk to? Which would you like to start with? Are you learning more about yourself or more about the field?
Learning about myself is easy because I have quite a few friends that I can go to for that. So that's a no-brainer. To be willing to take someone else's time, that'd be a little trickier.
Okay.
I do have some names in mind, but I don't want to say them here necessarily because they're here at the conference. You might want to be private about it. But I'm certain, so there's at least one person I can think of that I would want to talk to.
Is that person here at the conference?
Yes.
Would you be able to go talk to them sometime today?
I'd be willing to do that, yes.
What would you ask them?
I don't think that's a good question because they're quite busy with this preparation, and I wouldn't want to take too much of their bandwidth. So
So I'm just going to make an observation here. You have two goals so far in approaching them. One is to get answers to some of your questions, and another is not take up too much of their time, right?
Right.
There are probably other goals, but I just want to start a little list of all the things you want to accomplish in that. So those are two concerns. Okay?
Right. And maybe I'm just going to spin that because I don't want to take too much of their time. I know that feeds into this sort of insecurity, so I'm going to say I want to be respectful of their time.
Okay. Okay, great.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is, would you be willing to have a phone conversation with me for 20 minutes? I have some questions about the field and my interest in it, and I really respect what you do, and would you be willing to take that time at some point, and I can call you at your convenience?
How do you think that would come across to them?
Sheepish.
Okay. Is that the goal you want to accomplish?
No.
So you want to get your questions answered. You want to be respectful of their time, not be sheepish. So is there a question that you could ask them that would accomplish those three goals?
Then the next thought that I had was then maybe what I should do is I would need to go home and prepare some sort of proposal of why that I might be worth their time and some idea for the field. But I think maybe I could say, instead of narrow the time, would you be willing to have a conversation with me? I am interested in possibly venturing forward in a more scholarly fashion into the field of coaching, and I have some questions for you.
Can you distill one of those questions? What's one question that you would most like to ask?
Can I ask you some questions at some point by phone?
I have 2 minutes right now. Go ahead.
That wouldn't do it quite.
Should we stop for a second?
Yeah.
We've been going about 7 minutes.
But I just want to remember that's where we're at.
That's good.